Good morning, guys. Probably, I guess we have somewhere close to around 95 users, expecting somewhere around 150 to 200 between the stream. So, before we really begin, just let me know if my voice is audible and the screen is visible. One thing which I would like you guys to check out on your system is that if you are viewing the stream from a mobile phone and the default quality is set to somewhere below anything below 720p, please you can go into HD if things are not visible. I will have a check on the chat. I am advising you not to be abusive, otherwise we'll have no option but to ask you to leave the event. So my name is Javesh. I am the Chief Technology Officer of PrismCode Info Solutions. And this is an event wherein we are going to go live for around 2 hours. We will be answering your doubts, questions, and queries as well. But, we'll be having specific time slots for that. This event is, brought to you guys by IEEE Jamia Millia Islamia. So a big thanks to the IEEE team who has helped us out with the, outreach of the event in this pandemic. We've got close to around 250 registrations from India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Germany, US, and Canada. So that's a lot of people who will be joining in the event today. Now, there are a couple of things which I would like you guys to know before I begin, the actual start of the code. So basically, I'm not going to use any presentation right now. Definitely, I can send you study material after the event, like 2 or 3 days after the event, if you want to do so. Because today, what I'm going to use is I'm going to go raw. I'm just going to use the AWS documentation live in front of you, and I will be creating a chatbot from the scratch. If you guys are following along on your laptop, so there is no specific requirement of any software that you need to install. All you need is an AWS account. We had probably sent you a video out yesterday on how to create your AWS account. Just in case if you do not have one set up right now, you can create one in the future, and this stream will be available. Even after we have live streamed this, you can just go to the video and go check that stream out, so you can follow on with the steps. And in case you guys have doubts, IEEE has planned a special, I think, 15-20 minute session which we can have somewhere around in the evening today. That'll be 4 or 5 hours after the stream ends, or we can actually, plan to have a doubt session somewhere around next week. So that is something which can be done. So I'm trying to keep the session as easy as possible for everyone to understand, because that's the motive, that we want all of you guys to understand what the technology is. The technology is not that difficult. It's very interesting and it's a very in-demand technology. So you guys will be, observing that when we create a chatbot, it is hardly going to take us a few, like let's say, once you are done with the creation of your pod, if you leave aside the deployment and the go live state, which it takes from wherever you need to deploy. Let's say if you have to deploy your bot on Facebook, so Facebook has some time duration of like around 24 to 48 hours in which they review the bot. If you keep that aside, you can create a bot within like 30 minutes. So it's a very easy and it's a very in demand technology that a lot of people are demanding and using. So okay, so without wasting much time, I just have one disclaimer to give all you guys before we actually begin. There are two things. One, because we are streaming live and there might be some connectivity issues in middle of the stream. So we have a website that is prismcode.in/Jamia. I'll just open that up on my screen as well so that you guys can get an idea. So this is basically the website from where your e-certificates are going to be issued, and if there is if the stream stops or if we have any changes in the stream, everything and anything will be updated on this website. So if the video stops, you guys know where to go. The link for this website is in the description below. It's very simple, prismcode.in/Jamia. All the steps are mentioned over here. The website is not fully open. As soon as the stream ends, you'll have a couple more options on this website. This is where you'll have to do a few things before e-certificates can be sent to you. So I'll just come to the e-certificates at the end of the event. Before that, let me tell you a few steps that you guys need to follow. One, this is a totally free event. We are not charging for anything for the event, and whatever we do today in the AWS free tier is totally free of cost, except if you go beyond the free tier limit, you guys might have to pay for it. I'm not saying you would have to, you might have to. Now, what is the free tier? I am just going to come to that in a couple of moments. But my point, just to be very clear, is as long as you guys are in the free tier limit, you guys do not exceed what you guys are asked to do. In that case, you are never going to be charged by AWS. If you have created your account with AWS, they might have charged you a 2 rupee amount, which will be deducted eventually back. That's just for authorizing, if you have audible, if you have a legitimate card or not. If your account is verified once, in that case they are never going to charge you if your usage of the entire, there are some services which are given to you free forever, there are some services which are given to you free for 1 year. So how the technology works out, we'll be using two services today, so I'll be talking about each one of them. The medium of instruction for today is going to be English, and I am going to explain some things in Hindi as well, because considering the audience, I have around 90% of the audience from India. So definitely the first mode of instruction will be English, but then just to reach out to my audience slightly more, I will be shifting to Hindi at some point of time. Okay. Apart from that, there's one last thing which I want you guys to know. In case you do not have a laptop or a mobile phone, I would ask you to stick to the stream from the beginning till the end, because that's very important. That's one criteria for getting the e-certificate. So we will be giving you certificates, but then basis on how many people are active in the stream, because we will be giving you a few questions in between. We would be looking for interactions, and the more interaction you show up, and if you're not available even once in the chat, we'll come to know that if you were a part of the stream or not. So I want you guys to be very active, stay in the stream from the beginning till the end. If you leave the stream in between, you'll not be eligible to get an e-certificate from IEEE. That's the IEEE norms that IEEE Jamia and PrismCode has set. So great. I think we are pretty much done with the disclaimer. So without wasting much time, let's just quickly start the event. Great. So now the first thing which we need to do while creating a chatbot is we're going to use a service called AWS Lex. Now this Lex service is basically a service provided by AWS which allows you to create chatbots. Now what happens over here is you get a very graphical, a very interesting and a very easy graphical user interface where it becomes very easy for newcomers to go and create chatbots. On the back end, that's the front end thing which you're going to do. The Okay, hi Kunal, you are from Lonavala. Great. So yeah, coming back, uh, we have basically. I'll just move the chat to the left because that is slightly distracting me a little. I'm just sorry for that, but I'll definitely check out the chat in the end, and we'll definitely answer your queries. Uh, and just one thing, guys, this is the first stream for the channel. We have been an offline company. If you have worked with us sometime, in the last 2-3 years, you would know the way we work out. We've been totally, one-on-one oriented, and we've only had somewhere around, I think 3 or 4 online events before that. So even I'm new to this. So if you face anything, if the voice is not audible or the screen is lagging, just let me know so that I can improve on that. And for the comments, I'll definitely have a look in the comments with time, but not very frequently, because it is slightly new and can get a little bit distracting for me. Perfect. So yeah, coming back to the technology, AWS Lex is going to be the service which we are going to use in the front end for creating the chatbot, and the backend is going to be powered by something called as AWS Lambda. So AWS Lambda is basically your serverless compute service. Now, when I call it serverless compute service, this is something which is very cloud oriented. You do not see something similar to Lambda in an on-premise environment. Abhi tak, if you might have gone through something like, if you know the client server architecture, or the on-premise solutions, all the on-premise solutions mean that you actually have the server running inside your premise, right? So you have one server, you have your applications deployed over there, and then you can go and access it. But in a very cloud environment, what happens is that basically you have a cloud running, and the cloud is managing your functions, and it's managing your code. So you can basically just host your functions, and then you'll be built for that. So all that is going to come in. Before I dig in deep into the AWS account, I just want to tell you what the free tier is. So as I said that I'm not going to use any presentation because I want it to be as natural as possible. So I'm going to open the live link so that you understand what the technology is. So talking about the free tier. So AWS free tier is basically given to you when you create an account. There are 3 categories which come under this tier. So one is always free. So there are a certain set of services that are given to you by AWS which will never be charged for. Okay. The second set of services is which are free for 12 months, and the third set of services is which are trials. Now, all these services have their limits. It's not that you can, use the service to any amount and you'll not be billed. The two major services that we're going to use today, the first one is a very, widely used service. It's called as AWS Lambda. So if I slightly give you an idea about what AWS Lambda is, so AWS Lambda is a serverless compute service. By serverless compute service, I mean that you will be running your code and you will only be paying for the amount of time your code is running. So you're not going to pay for, let's say, just a website. If we talk about a on-premise solution, what happens is if your server is running for, let's say, 24 hours a day for 7 days a month, you're going to be billed for that duration because that is the time where you have occupied it, right? Now, on the other hand, if you go for the service which is like function as a service or something called as AWS Lambda, in this case, you're going to host your code and you'll only be charged for the number of executions. Just in case if my code is not executed once in the entire month, I'm not going to be charged for it. On the other hand, if I am running my code like 10 times a day, I'm going to be charged for that. So Almas is asking, would we be using the free tier? Yes, definitely. Whatever we do today is totally under the free tier. Nothing is beyond the free tier. So you're not going to be charged for anything that you do. Now coming back to Lambda. So Lambda has a lot of use case, a lot of advantages. I'll just tell you what the free best part about this is. We are going to run our code onto Lambda, and it's going to be free because you get around 1 million requests per month for lifetime. So So I guess there was some problem with the stream, and I think it is kind of fixed right now. So can you guys confirm? Huh. Okay, I'm like very sorry for this. This might happen quite a few times just because of the unstable internet connection. So I've asked Airtel to get this fixed, but then it's happening on a very regular basis. I'm quite frustrated from what's happening. Again, I'm very sorry if this happens again. I would just request you guys to keep connected on the stream. It will take us hardly a minute or so to switch between connections because it was the first time. Even we got shocked at what had happened. So very sorry for that. Coming back to Lex, uh, I'll just go to AWS Lex. I was telling you about Lambda. Ki Lambda, whatever we use in Lambda is going to be covered under the free tier. Now we've come inside Lex. So Lex, again, the amount of services which we are going to use is going to stay inside the free tier. It's clearly mentioned over here that you can try Lex for free. From the day you get started with the Amazon Lex, you can process 10,000 text requests per month for free. So they're not going to charge you for 10,000 requests. This does not mean 10,000 new people, 10,000 different people. This actually means 10,000 requests. Matlab, let's say if a user is coming to your chatbot and the user is communicating like for like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times, in that case, what's going to actually happen is when you talk about the bill, the total number of the requests sent by a particular user should not, in total, it should not exceed 10,000. So, for example, if one user is sending 10 requests and I am having 100 users per month, so that accounts it to like around 10,000. So, it's not per user, it is upon the number of requests a user is specifically sending. So, that's why when you will be going live with this, if you plan to deploy your chatbot to a Facebook page, like I will be giving you some methods for doing that. In that case, I would request you to be very careful on which page you deploy, because if you deploy your chatbot to a page, to a Facebook page, in that case, if the number of requests exceed 10,000, in that case you're going to be billed for that. Okay, so this is pretty much it about how things are working, and I have a feeling that things look good to everyone. So that's what everyone is saying. And yes, perfect. So now what we'll do is, wait a minute. For some reason, the chat is not updating on my screen. That's quite weird. Anyways, no issues. So I'll just quickly go sign in into the console. If you've created your AWS account, you can see the same screen as I can. So once you are inside the console, what happens is that With my personal website. Okay. So you have so Shivam Bhatnagar has a question that can you integrate your bot with with your own website? So in that case, the answer to that is yes, it is possible, but Lex is not a very recommended service for that case because Lex gives you direct integration for a few services. So if I have to go and deploy a chatbot on Facebook, Lex is going to be my choice. But if I have to deploy a chatbot on my website, there are many other options available which I would like to explore before I would, go and stick to one particular specific option. So yes, we can discuss more about that. What's your name again, Shivam? In the next session that we have. So if we plan to have another, doubt session with IEEE, which I am anticipating looking at the response, we have somewhere close to 108 users. Previously, before the stream got blurred, we had somewhere around, let's say 150 users. So if we have like around 50, 60 users who are actually interested, we can definitely go and plan for that. We can plan a doubt session. Now, you're asking me IBM Watson. Yes, that's another great option which a lot of people use when it comes to, deploying chatbots. But now because we have like around 115 people viewing, so I'll not waste a lot of time. I'll just come back to doubts in a couple of moments. So let me just quickly go inside Amazon Lex. So see, what we need to understand is when you talk about Amazon Lex, what's happening is you have to take care of one thing in mind. I have seen a lot of people create their accounts. And one last thing, if the screen is blurred for you people, your quality might be low because I am streaming at 1080p 30 fps, which is I think above average. So in that case, if something goes wrong on your part, please, it's a request that if you can just change the quality to 1080 or 720, your screen will start getting visible again because the screen is big, the font is going to be slightly small because I'll have to code. So in that case, you might feel that things are getting blurred at times. Okay, so guys, coming back, what's actually happening over here is I was telling you about Lex. So what happens in Lex is if you guys are there in Mumbai region, which in our case, most of the people, when you have your AWS account, you try to access it from the region closest to you. Since most of the viewers are from India, so I'll just give you an idea of India. So India, mein what happens is if you're viewing it from Mumbai and then you try to open Lex, you'll have to go to services. In services, you can type AWS Lex or Lex. In both the cases, it is going to give you something like Amazon Lex is not available in Asia Pacific Mumbai. So now this is a very, very new thing to a lot of people. If you've used EC2, S3, RDS, जो भी common services होती हैं, these services are available everywhere. But if you talk about services like Lex, because these are advanced services, they are not available in all the regions of AWS. There are a few regions that support AWS. So AWS is giving you an option. You can choose any one of these regions and then you can start creating a chatbot. So my personal preference for some reason is North Virginia because I've been creating chatbots over there since quite some time. You can use any one of the regions. The pricing is very straightforward. Uh, I'll start by creating a new bot. There are two ways of doing it. One is you can use a template. If you have used something like the maximum limit is 480p for us. That is Abhishek Saini. Can everyone confirm? Are you guys able to view the video on 1080p or is it the 480 is the caps for everyone? Just like quickly confirm it in the comments so that I can move ahead because this is something which I did not expect. 1080p, great. So if it's 1080p for one person, I guess it will be the same for the others as well. That's great. Okay, so that's great, great, great. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I have got my response. If it's working on 1080p for a few, then it's your internet connection that's not allowing you to go to 4. Like it's not allowing you to go above 480p. ठीक है, no problem with that. So फटाफट से आ जाते हैं going back on creating a bot. तो bot create करना बहुत ज़्यादा interesting है. Scratch से बताऊंगा सब कुछ. Very very basic. If you do not understand any part of it, please 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 let me know so that I can explain that part again. There will be things which I will be teaching in a stretch, then I will be having a look at the comments. So if something goes wrong, you guys can let me know over there. Fine, perfect. So I am inside AWS Lex. I have clicked on aws.amazon.com. I have changed my region to North Virginia. That's where Lex is supported, and I've opened Amazon Lex. I'll start by clicking on create a bot. Now you can see I have a few options over here. I can either try a sample. So all these options are there in front of me, or I can create a custom bot. Okay. So now if I create a custom bot, the customization is in my hand. It is slightly more difficult to work with a custom bot, but I find it to be more challenging and more interesting. That's why I'm going to teach you how to create a custom bot, because यहाँ पे you get control of everything. It's not that you're not dependent upon a sample. When you work with a sample, the dependency is that you have to wait for it, right? Not everything is in your hand. But if you are working with the custom bot, you get to decide what your utterances are. You get to decide what your slots are. Utterances, slots, I'll be coming to that shortly. You get to decide how your backend works out. You do not need any, pre-required code for this, because again, I do not think if you code in the backend, it's not going to be more than, let's say, around 15 lines of actual code. So 15 lines of code, you'll be like really good to go and create your bot. So custom bot is the type that I have selected. Now today I'm going to create a calculator bot. So the end result, if I give you an idea, it's going to be that I'm going to create a calculator. So what's going to happen in the calculator is I will be typing in add. So if I type in add, it's going to ask me what's the first number. I'll be entering the first number. Then it's going to ask me what's the second number. After I've entered the second number, it is going to give me back. Okay. So Pratap Shekhar has a comment. It takes 24 hours to activate AWS. Yes. In the COVID times, it is taking slightly longer. It can be up. If you've just created an AWS account right now, it can take some time to, actually go get your account started. That is something which a lot of people have been facing in the past few days. So if that is the case with you, that is absolutely fine. You do not need to worry about that. You can just create your account within 24 hours. It will be available. Then you can go back to the live stream, watch it again, follow these steps, and then you would be good to go with the project that you would want to make out of it. Okay, so now coming back, like I can give my bot any name. So calculator, I was giving an example. So if I enter subtract, I enter my first number, I enter my second number, it's going to give me what the result is. I enter multiply, it's going to multiply for me. So it's going to be a bot which is going to help me with the multiplication. I'm going to start with a very easy example. Eventually you can expand it, you can, create any bot out of it. And we'll see if we have the time. We'll definitely go for a second session as well. And Kunal Kishore says sometime it takes less than 24 hours. Definitely. I have seen cases when the accounts have got activated for my students in less than like 15 minutes. I've seen cases when it has taken over like 2 days as well. So it actually depends on the situation. So bot ka naam, I will start by creating it. Let's call this YouTube Live Calc. Okay, I've just given it any name that I want to. Now you can see that the language which I've selected over here is English US. That is the only option available. I mean, you cannot, you do not have pretty much options if you go for the custom bot. Now output voice, because the bot which you create with Lex is compatible to work with voice as well. It's not just a chatbot. It is a chatbot wherein you can type in and you can also talk to your bot. So you can send in voice input and you will be given a voice output. So in case you want your bot to be, a voice bot, in that case you'll have to choose a voice. So you have options. Either you can go and click on no, this is a text-based application. In that case, it is not going to give you an option for talking to the bot. You will only have to manually type and communicate with your bot. But in the second case where you're going to see right now, I'm actually going to choose in a voice. So I have practically worked with Sally and this looks good to me. So I'm going with
Hello,
this voice.
my name is Sally.
So I guess the voice would be audible to you. And if you want to check this out, if you're using an output voice, that how is it going to sound when you use the actual chatbot? So you have a test option over here as well. So for example, if I type in, hi, this is a sound check, and I click on play, I'll be able to hear it. So let me just do it for you.
Hi, this is a sound check.
So you've just listened to Sally. I'm not sure if the voice was desktop audio was audible or not. I'll just change it to.
Hi, this is a sound check.
So I've changed it to Joanna and I could hear Joanna. I'll change it to Kevin. And for some reason, it's not able to play the sample. That's weird.
Hi, this is a sound check.
This is a very, you have variety of voices, male, female. Along with that, you have options wherein, you can actually have voices which are low pitched, high pitched. There are various options which are available. But for now,
hi, this is a sound check.
Sally looks good to me. So I'll just go with Sally. Now there's a default timeout that you can set. Now this timeout is basically what is the time duration that you want your bot to be active. Beyond this time duration, your bot would not be active. I mean, after this, your bot is not going to stay and it's not going to listen to your user. You might have seen default timeouts for all the web applications and other things which you might have done. So ideally, you can go with a 5-minute timeout. You can set that as per your business requirements. But for me, I think 5 minutes sounds good to me, and that's great. Is anyone facing MFA authentication error? Okay. So Satish Sharma, if you are facing an MFA authentication error, that is because you might have, once you have created your AWS account, you go into IAM and you can enable multi-factor authentication. Just in case if you have enabled multi-factor authentication and you have, misplaced a device, if your code is wrong, that is sometime when you get that error. Apart from that, I've not seen that error very common. It's not a very common error. Okay. Yeah. So session timeout, we have set that to 5 minutes. Sentiment analysis, no, that's not something which I'm looking for. Now here is a very interesting option, that is IAM role. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. So what happens in this role is you basically go out and you tell your bot that what your bot is going to have, what permissions your bot is going to have in respect of AWS. Now if I just go and click on this link, it is actually going to show me all the policies that are actually associated with this role. This is a by default role which is given to my Amazon Lex. If I tell you about the permissions, it carries a policy called as Amazon Lex bot policy. Now this bot policy allows your Lex, this allows your chatbot to have two access. One is access to sentiment analysis. The second access is the access to using Poly. Poly is a service which your Lex is going to use for converting text to speech. So wherein I'm going to talk to my bot and I'm going to use text to speech, that's where Poly is going to come into picture. So यहाँ पे, if I just scroll down a little, you can see this policy, Amazon Lex bot policy. It is actually allowing Poly. Poly basically is text to speech. So giving this permission gives my bot the permission to take the text and give me a speech output. And the second thing which I can see over here is comprehend, detect sentiment. So this is the permission to detect the sentiments. Now it actually depends upon me that if I want to allow sentiment analysis or not. But for this thing, I will not go for sentiment analysis because it's a very basic walkthrough. A lot of you are new to this. I have around 130 visitors, and looking at the responses, we had a lot of people who were freshers in their probably first year of job, and we even had people from 11th and 12th standard in their schools. So we have to keep the level moderate for everyone so that it does not go in above anyone's head. uh, then the next thing which you have to take into consideration is, I can't see or hear anything. Guys, can you just quickly comment and let us know if you're able to hear and if the voice and stream is audible? Because in my case, the stream looks healthy to me. Everything looks good. Just confirm that. Okay. In the meanwhile, coming to COPPA, COPPA is Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. So if you are intending a chatbot to interact with children, in that case, you will have to enable this. Now, since I do not want to talk to children, right? I'm not making a chatbot for children, because if I create a chatbot for children, I get a lot of responsibilities. I'll have to filter the content which my bot is giving. I cannot be reliant on any other API. I cannot have any abusive words. I'll have to be very restricted, and I will be legally bound by COPPA. So in that case, till the time you're not creating something for children, it is my general advice that you can click no on COPPA, because that's the best thing you can do. COPPA is basically children की privacy. Again, explaining it because it's very very important. So agar if you click on yes, you have to be compliant. You have to make sure that your bot is actually good enough to interact with children. There is nothing wrong with the bot. That is an added up responsibility for you. So now what I'll do is I'll just click on create. So great, you can see that I have got my bot started. So I can see the test chatbot scene. It seems pretty blank to me right now. There is no option which I can see over here. Okay, control plus plus. You want me to zoom in a little? Chalo. This is the max I can do in terms of zoom, because if I go more, it'll be slightly difficult for me to go through all the code. Perfect. So yeah, coming back, you can see the name of my bot, that is YouTube Live Calc. That's what I've named my bot. I could have named it anything. Now the first thing is intents. Now once I'm going to explain this in English, then I'll come up to Hindi, because it's a very very confusing concept for a lot of people. Intent is basically intention. So I'll just come to that. Give me a sec. Excuse me. Yeah. So coming back to intent, intent is basically the intention of what your bot is trying to do. So basically, if I tell you something like, let's say, mm, if you have an Android application, in that case, you can have multiple pages, right? If I talk about any big branded application, you'll have multiple intentions. You can book things, you can have a look at your orders, you can search for new products, you can comment on products, you can review products. So all these are different activities. Just the way you have different activities or different functionalities in case of a website or an application, the same way you have intents in case of a chatbot. So intents is basically different intentions, different different kind of functions that I'm going to run with the chatbot. So for example, if I want my chatbot to add, subtract, multiply and divide, these four are going to be four different intentions. So जितनी भी मेरी intentions होंगी, जितने भी मैं काम अपने chatbot से कराना चाहता हूँगा, वो सारे के सारे काम are going to be different intents. तो अगर मेरे को चाहिए कि मेरा chatbot में मैं help लिखूं तो वो मुझे बता दे कि chatbot कैसे guide करता है. For that I'm going to create a help intent. If I want my chatbot to work on, let's say, addition, I will be creating an addition intent. If I want that for subtraction, I'll be creating a subtraction intent. Okay? Can we change the voice pitch and speed? Uh, am I too loud to everyone? I think you can just, uh, reduce your volume a little if that is the case. Okay, I will stick to English. Just a little bit of explanation in Hindi for my viewers so that they can understand, the concept slightly more. So now what I'll do is intents. I'm going to create my very first intent. I can either import it, search, or create one because I'm going to go for a very basic one. I'll be clicking on create intent. The first intent which I'm looking forward for is addition. So I'm just calling it the addition intent. You can call it anything that you like. Let's just go with a capital A. That's how it's generally done. Now you can see. Oh, okay. So I've see now one thing which you see over here. This is the best advantage of live coding. I would have got that even this event recorded. I had a suggestion from one of my colleagues. They said that why don't you go and record the entire event and then deploy it in form of a YouTube Premiere. So my thing was if I deploy that, if I do that, the thing is I will not be able to show my audience what actually happens when you code. So this thing right now it's not an error. It might not happen for you, but it's happening on my screen. There's a very big reason for that. This is happening to me because I have already created an intent called addition in some other bot. So now these intents are common across all your bots. You cannot use the same name again. Okay, you have to have a different name in the entire account. So if I might have created some bot, some time back with some other name, but over there I might have created an intent called addition. That's the reason I'm getting this error that you cannot have addition as your intent because addition already exists. So now, for some reason, just for clarity and for differentiation, I'm going to name all my intents with YT because this is a YouTube live, just the abbreviation for my own understanding, for your understanding. So I've named that YT edition. So this is the name of the intent. I could have named it add simply, but then this is just for, my way of doing it. You can choose, you can just change the name if you want to. I'll click on add and now you can see YT edition has been added without any problem. आराम से अपने आप add हो चुका है. Now what we're going to do it, we are going to add utterances. Utterances is the second part of the story. Now in this what is going to happen is I'm going to type in what is it that I need to type for my bot to get triggered, for this intent to get triggered. So I will just type in add. That is one of the utterances. So as soon as I type add, this thing is going to get called. Now the second thing which I want to have is addition, sum, please add. I mean, there are n number of utterances that you can add. The more utterances you have, the more practical your bot would seem to the people. So what you can actually do is I have added add, addition, sum, and please add. So this is good enough for me for now. Now what I'm going to do is the second concept comes is of slots. So I'm going to have some variables, right? Now as soon as I type in add, addition, sum, or please add, what is going to happen is my bot is going to know that my intention is of adding. So I'm trying to add. It's going to ask me what's your first number, what's your second number. Now how am I going to get that? Yeah, I have a comment from Arjun Singh. It says if intents are not sandbox, then can we use them across different bots? Yes, you can use your intents across different bots. That's the reason when I create an intent, it is actually giving me an option, right, of importing an intent. Or you can search for existing intent as well. Import is to import from an external file, and search may You can just go and search for the intent that you're actually trying to find out. Okay, guys, coming back. So please add some addition. Add these are some four utterances which I've added for now because they seem good to me. I can have any other utterance which I want to. Now the next concept is as soon as I add this, it should be asking me a few, inputs, because the main purpose of a chatbot is to ask the user for some different details. If I give you an example of, let's say, Swiggy or Zomato, they have automated a lot of work, right? If you might have, how many of you have ordered from Swiggy? I mean, I guess almost everyone, people staying in India, it's very common in North India. It's a very, very commonly used thing. And if you get something wrong with your order, a lot of people might have returned something on Swiggy as well, right? So if you have returned on Swiggy, you might have observed that you will actually be communicating with the chatbot. So today, if I go to Swiggy and I type in that I have some problem with my order, it is actually going to give me a set of options. The reasons why companies are actually giving me those options, and it is not, having a human sitting in the backend to interact with me. One, it is faster, it is quicker. There is someone, there's no human dependency for someone to reply back to my comments or my chat. And the second thing is, the process is more seamless and it's more cost efficient. That's why a lot of technologies, a lot of people are moving into the cloud. There is a lot of demand for cloud technologies for this very reason, that a lot of things can be automated, and you do not need to code, you do not need to work on the artificial intelligence from the scratch. You can use the deep learning AI NLP capabilities of AWS if you use the AWS services. And that's the reason AWS is a very, 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 preferred choice for a lot of people when it comes to, moving on cloud. Perfect. So now coming up to slots, I have got just one comment saying that you have used Swiggy. Okay. So, okay, no, I have got quite a few. Fine, that's fine. Great. So coming to slots, so slots may basically are the variables. This is basically how, your what is the variable that you're looking forward for. This is the name which you are going to use to access this variable in the backend. So I will just name this number one. I can call it num1. Yeah, numone. It totally depends upon me. So I've just done it num1. Now the next thing which I'm doing is I have to choose a slot type. Now these slot types are your data types but slightly more complicated. Now this is something which is not as basic as int, char, float, because it is using natural language processing. Okay, because I have used the term NLP. I'll just give you a brief background what NLP is. Not going too deep into this. NLP stands for natural language processing. So when a human is interacting with the bot and you're typing in something, uh, oh, okay. So you asked to change the voice pitch and the speed of the chatbot. No, there is no basic option to do that right now. There is an option to use some other voice. So there are a set of voices that you can choose, and that's the only option you have to go for. It's not that you can have your own voice and have the chatbot on Lex. That is something which I have not actually experienced, or I do not think that is something which is practically possible with the current technology. Going with a service provider such as the one which we are choosing right now. For that, you will have to create something totally custom. Okay, perfect. So यहाँ पे coming back slots, the first slot which I have selected is num1. You can name the slot anything that you like. Now, as I said, the data types are not that simple like int, char, float, because you're talking to the bot you're typing. You're typing in your natural language. Now, I'm just going to give you some example. Dialog flow is slightly different from Lex. It is not something very similar. It has its own pros and cons. This is slightly very, not slightly, I'll say, AWS Lex, Dialog flow are two very different technologies used in very different operations. They have a lot of similarities, not denying that. But according to me, I have personally tried out Dialog flow. I've used that for quite some time. I have used AWS for quite some time. My personal preference is slightly inclined towards AWS because of the infrastructure I get. Because AWS is a more, use cloud in the industry where I work with the clients where I'm working, so that like around 80% of my clients are using AWS. So in that case, I get the entire infrastructure of AWS. So I do not plan of moving out. So Google is again a very good option. So wherever Google Cloud is already implied over there, we can go for Dialogflow and the integration. But according to me, I would prefer as an individual to go with one cloud stack because that makes the work slightly easy. If you just change that, it becomes the integrations can be slightly different. Okay, coming back. So I've had this slot as num1. I'm going to give it a slot type. Now there are some predefined slot types which you can see over here, right? So now these are given to us by Amazon. Now what I'm going to use is amazon.number because that suits best for my use case. So I have selected amazon.number because I'm zoomed in, you're not able to see it fully. I'll click again and you can, just cross verify. It is amazon.number. So now when I type in ONE, it is going to take it as 1. Or if I type in numeric 1, it is going to take it as the same value. That's the advantage of using these complicated slot types or advanced slot types given to us by something such as Amazon. Perfect. Okay. So prompt, um, this prompt is basically what question should the chatbot ask the user if the chatbot wants the user to actually fill in this field. So I can ask in, please enter the first number for addition. I mean, this is totally upon me. I'll just click on add amazon.number because that is a data type which I get, which is a built-in slot type, and it gives me more flexibility in terms of the user input which I can take if I use amazon.number. You'll just quickly see that on the next screen when I give you a build and I give you an example of how the chatbot is actually working out. So you see there is num1 which is amazon.number type. It says please enter the first number. This is what the user is going to ask you. I'll add another one because for addition we need 2 numbers. That is the minimum which we want. So I'll just add that. I'll name it num2. The slot type is again going to be amazon.number. I've already answered that amazon.number because it's giving me flexibility to take input of numbers. And यहाँ पे I'm just going to copy this and paste it, except for the fact that I'm going to type in enter the second number for addition. And what I'm going to do is after I've added it, you will see that only the first field that you enter is required by default. Now the second one has to be done manually. The reason why I am manually clicking on required is that I want the bot to interact with me. I want the bot to actually take in 2 numbers. There is nothing called as addition with 1 number, right? You might have not seen add 1. Add 1 to what? Who knows, right? If you are doing addition, subtraction, multiplication or division, you need at least 2 numbers, and that's the entire concept of creating this chatbot. We need at least 2 numbers. So I've added number 1 and number 2, and now what I'm going to do is I'm not going towards the fulfillment. I'll just be coming to that. I'll have to click on build. Now build is basically going to give me a restriction. It says clearly you cannot actually go and have the changes live test. You cannot test for everything till the time your build is complete because the changes will not be reflected till that time. So I'll just wait for my build to finish up, and then I will be opening my live test chatbot. Oh, so I've got this message on the screen saying YouTube live calculator calc, whatever I call it, this is my name, was built successfully. So now if I need to interact with my bot, please pay attention to the right hand side of my screen. First I'm going to type in, then I'll be going to the voice model. I'll be showing that as well. So let me just type in add. So it's asking me please enter the first number for addition, and you can see num1 and num2 are 2 slots which are blank right now, right? It's very clearly visible. Now I am going to enter 50. Now it's going to ask me please enter the second number for addition. Now this is coming from the prompts that I have added. So we have a prompt pay because I had added please enter the second number. That's why it is asking me to put in the second number. Now I will just add, let's say 30. Now it's not going to further process because Lex is actually creating the interface for my bot, the one which I'm using right now. So as soon as I click enter, it is just saying intent YT action, YT addition is ready for fulfillment. Num1 50, num2 30. So basically I've gathered my data. I have not created the backend. I've not added the logic where I'm going to add in these things, right? It is just a very simple logic where I've taken 2 numbers, I've taken 2 inputs from the user. So you can very clearly observe it over here that num1 and num2 have been fulfilled. To answer your question, if the user needs to enter more than two numbers, you need to have more slot types. So, you know, your slot types are the variables that you are looking from the user. This can be your name, this can be a booking bot, this can be a bot for, multiple. You can have your bot for, let's say, solving your queries. You can have a bot for, let's say, making reservations. Like if I tell you a use case, sometime back we were testing for a chatbot wherein we were actually taking registrations on the Facebook page, but for some reason the bot was, not that great, because we started getting in a lot of spam and we could not find a spam filter for Facebook, and the bot was very expensive to us. So for that reason we had to bring that bot down. So it actually depends upon your use case as well. For Facebook, I am still in the progress to find out something wherein I can, have a filter wherein people cannot send more than certain number of requests. That is something which is not very easy to do, because Lex is getting integrated with Facebook. You have to take care of two integrations, and it is a very time consuming process. So if you go to a state like that, there might be situations wherein, Lex might not be the perfect choice for you. Leaving that aside, I do not think that, Lex is anywhere going to go out of the market in the next following years, because it's a very in demand and a very advanced technology. Okay, so I've entered number one, number two, and it is taking the inputs from my user. Now I'll start talking to my bot. Tapas Baranwal, backend and logical part is not done yet. Yes, definitely it's not done yet. We will be adding the backend part in some time. We'll be doing that through Lambda. Let me start talking to the bot. I hope you are able to listen to the conversation. So since my utterances, please add some addition or add. I have to say one of the following. So I'll just go with addition this time. Last time I think I started with add. So you just go scroll down. Addition.
Please enter the first number for addition.
100.
Please enter the second number for addition.
200. So I guess the audio would have been visible to you. So I could actually talk to my bot as well, or I could have typed it the first way I did. Okay, so you can very clearly see it over here. It says num1 and it says num2, and we are inside the intent YT edition. Now this is ready for fulfillment, means it is ready to be processed at the backend. It doesn't show the result because we haven't worked on the backend. Just give me a second. Okay, so yeah, coming back, it does not give you the result because we have gathered the data. This is ready to be sent to the backend. We're going to do the processing and we're going to give out the result. So the first thing was addition. Now the second thing, let's just go create another intent YT. Let's have multiply first. Okay, so it will be very similar. You can have subtraction, subtract. All this works out, and I will try to keep the variables same, because again it does not make sense to have different slots, because I can go with the same one. I am just trying. I can then easily go for an if else, and the work gets easy for me. So you can go for different variables if you want to. You can define different variables depending upon the intent type. So oh, sorry, my bad. Multiplication I added subtract. Thanks guys for letting me know. Some bad things about a live event. So sorry for this. Do not judge me, okay? My first live. Fine. Multiply looks good to me, or I can add multiplication. Honestly, if I tell you something from my personal experience, I'm not at all, worried about what's happening on the screen. This is something which I do on a regular basis. The only thing which I'm today concerned about is YouTube. It's my first time. It is slightly complicated using the OBS Studio, using so many screens at once. Going live is not that easy as I anticipated it to be, at least for a first timer. So yeah, num1. Again, I'm going to choose in the same type because that suits me best. That is Amazon dot number. Hmm. Oh, I forgot to add the prompt. Okay. Same way, num2. Thank you, Ayush. I am trying my best to be good in this. Actually, I'll tell you something. I'll share something very kind of very personal to you with you. So the thing is that I was a person who was very, oriented with offline events. I had love for offline events because I love interacting with people. So I never used to go for online events. But this pandemic has made like businesses change. It's changed the way how we look at things, and the same has happened with our business as well. Since the offline events are not possible, we cannot conduct them for the next few months. We are totally online, and YouTube is one new addition to it. We had trained somewhere around like 1500 to 2000 students in this summer itself on a lot of various technologies, AWS being one of the core one. But our classes usually happen on Skype. So what happens is there is a lot of human interaction, and then there's a lot of scope for talking to people. But over here we have to take care of a lot of stuff. I'm not used to green screen and stuff. It's pretty new to me. So if something fails, I'm like really sorry for that. Uh, okay, coming back. And I'll tell you something cool when I'll be building this. So I'm not sure if you guys know about how these YouTube setup works and how you guys are able to see me in the screen with these screens. So there's a concept of green screen, and because of COVID, we just realized a few days back that we needed a green screen. So I'll just click on build. Yeah, I've added num1 and num2. So now this is good. This is good for testing. Meanwhile, it's getting built. I'll tell you how it actually started. So we started with this green screen thing. I got an idea of getting the green screen, but the earliest delivery was available in the next 3 days, which was 2 days from today. So what I had to do was the stand was not available. You'll not believe that I've actually tied the entire green screen to two corners of my room and stuck it with double tape just so that it does not fall out. And I was scared in the starting of the event that what happens, if this falls out, it might be like really awkward. So this is what goes in the making of events like this. So that's why it's slightly more difficult in comparison to teaching offline or going on a Skype call or something like that. Great. Chalo. Coming back, so multiplication, now I'll just type in multiply. So now it's going to ask me what's the first number. I will just type in 50. Second number, I'll just type in 30. Everything is good for now. So though I know it's not a funny stream, but I'll try to be interactive because it's going to be a long one. It's already been 1 hour and it's going to take another 1 hour before we can actually go and deploy the bot on Facebook. So we are going to talk a little bit. I hope this is cool with everyone. No one's a geek over here. Just khali padna hai, because interaction is very important for the audience to have interest in what is being taught. Perfect. So this looks good. It's a basic board with the functionality of addition and multiplication. I'm not adding subtract and divide. That is something which you can add on your own. It works in the same way. Now the next thing is I'm going to connect it to the backend. So build is already done. I am building it once again. Now for creating the backend, uh, my recommendation is that you stay in the same region. This is not, if I'm using North Virginia for my Lex, it is recommended that you go for North Virginia when you're having your, Lambda. That is where your brain or your processing is going to work out. So I'll just quickly click on services. I'll go into Lambda. Lambda, as I've already mentioned, is a serverless compute service. I'll start by creating a function. Now I have a lot of blueprints available, but I do not believe in blueprints. The reason why I am not using blueprints is because I want you guys to know the basic. that how the technology is getting started, what is it that goes into making a chatbot. So it's going to be slightly, the next 10 minutes are going to be very, very technical. So no jokes, just focusing on what is very, very important. The first thing is you have to give your function a name. So you can name this anything you like. Okay, I'm just going, and one thing about AWS, you do not need to save anything. It gets auto saved. So I was with Lex, I have built my bot. It's not like your code that you forgot to save and your code vanishes, nothing like that. The code remains where it is. So that was not even code, that was the state of my bot. So the state remains constant till the time I actually go and delete the bot, obviously. Perfect. So now going on to the name of the function, I'll just name this function, let's say YT chatbot calc, a very weird name. I could just name it anything. Now the runtime, I have option to choose Node.js, Java, Go, .NET, Python, Ruby, anything. Node.js is something which is slightly considered to be, more in demand. Okay, so I have a question. How bot will know how many number user wants to enter or multiply? How to make repeated trigger to come via slots or any coding option? Okay. So the bot will know how many things to answer because apne bot you've taken the slot, right? If you have two slots, it's going to ask you two things. If it's taking three slots, it's going to take three things. If it's five, it's going to ask for five values. I'll give you that example as well. I'll be creating a help intent just to give you more idea. That'll be the second phase of it. Just give me some time. I'll answer your question. Okay, coming to Node.js 12.x, I have selected YT Chatbot Calc Node.js 12.x. That is the runtime which I am choosing. Default permissions are given. I am not, making any changes to the permissions. I'll just click on create function. Now it does take in a few seconds, for this function to get created. And now you can see the designer on your screen. So this looks cool. Now a few years back, Amazon acquired a company called as Cloud9 IDE, if I'm not wrong. Now that Cloud9 IDE has given Amazon the ability to code on the go. So basically this editor is a Cloud9 editor, which is now I think owned by Amazon. That is something which you guys can go and check on Google, uh, because I'm like not 100% sure about that. But yeah, coming back, so this ID is basically where I can actually code on this function. So Lambda is a serverless compute service. I do not have a server. I do not have anything fixed for me. I'm just having this code. I will be only paying for the number of times my code is actually going to get executed. So I'm going to pay per execution. I'm not going to pay for the amount of time I posted it. So that's why it is called as a serverless compute service. Now you can see over here, this is the default, welcomes. This is the default boilerplate code which you get when you create a Lambda function. So it is a async function. Now this will be different for different languages. Because I've selected Node.js, you can see this file index.js and you can see exports.handler async event. Now I'm not going to go deep into Node.js. It's impossible for me to, go to each and every detail right now. It is just an event to cover the chatbot, so that people who are aware about AWS or people who are new to the technology can understand the basics of it. So this is not this is not a master class. That's why everything will not be very very straight to you right now. You would have to go with a few things. The first thing which I'm going to do is how to handle invalid values entry. Okay, so how to handle invalid values entry if we enter text when it is asked to enter the number. The stream is fine. Check your network. Oh, okay, great. So yeah, coming back, invalid ke liye what we actually do is we can actually handle stuff on the back end that is usually done, or in the front end. If someone's having an invalid value, Lex is not going to accept it. It is again going to ask you the question. It's going to ask you enter first number. You enter anything random, enter first number. Anything random, enter first number. That is why we are using Lex. I'll just come to that as well. So now what I'm going to do is it says to implement, this is the response which is going to go back to my Lex. I'll have to obviously customize it according to Lex. That is the second part of it. But before I do that, I will start by creating a few variables. So the first variable according to me should be result, because in all the cases I have to return a result. So I can have result as 0. That's the default start value which I'm taking. Then the next thing is I have to access which intent the user is trying to call. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just open Lex in another new tab. I am actually going to need that. Amazon Lex, open a new tab, because I might have to refer to the names, and it's always a best practice to go with the perfect names so that you do not make any problems. Typos are a very common thing and it should be avoided. And the one who was asking me for handling things, so the guy, so what about exception handling? Guys, for exception handling, you can see my screen. Please enter the first number. I've entered Jivesh. It says please enter the first number for addition. It is automatically handling it. That's the beauty of slot types. Are you guys getting it? I think this should be very clear to everyone, because it is expecting a number. If I enter anything apart from a number, it is automatically going to ask me the question again, which is a proof that it is automatically going to handle the errors for me. I do not have to worry about the errors. So I hope I've cleared your doubts. Great. Chatbot. Just give me a sec. I need a quick water break. One thing I will share with you people. So for some reason, uh, we are using an Airtel connection, and the Airtel connection has started to get like a few days back, the upload speed which I was getting was somewhere close to 10 Mbps. Suddenly, what happened 2 days back? My upload speed dropped down to 0.5 Mbps, and the experience was so terrible that I had to get, I am sitting with three phones right now with my Wi-Fi, with my hotspot on three of them, and I am streaming from my cellular data, just because anything can happen at the very last moment. So if by chance the stream goes again, I was just checking how much data is left. So I might need 1 minute to switch from one network to the other. Please excuse me for that if it happens. For now, things look good to me. We should expect a stream break somewhere around in the next 30 minutes if it happens. My try is going to be that if I can avoid it, I'll try my best to avoid that and try to make it as seamless as possible. Okay, so I'm talking about like in case of division with zero. Acha, division with zero is something which is not handled in the front end. That is something which you have to handle in the back end. Like in the screen which you see over here, the chatbot screen. This is your back end. This is the place we're going to write the logic. This is where you're going to handle division by zero. Because if you talk about your code, it is actually just a sec. For some reason, my YouTube says that my stream is dropping. Can you guys just quickly confirm if the screen is visible, if things are good to everyone? If someone enters 10 and 20 in one go, no, that's something which we have not added, right? For that, we'll have to change our utterance. Like, I'll show that to you as well. That was the second step, but okay, we can do that right away. Everything perfect. Thank you guys for the confirmation. This means a lot. Perfect. So now you can see I have added a new utterance, add num1 and num2. So now if someone types add 10 and 20, it is going to be accepted, because this num1 and num2 are basically the slot types which have already been defined by me. So once you have defined the slot types in the bottom, you can go and add, you can tweak your utterances, and this is something which you actually have to do. Now what happened was yesterday, I have actually got a failure message from Facebook. The reason is I was testing out a bot and I did not spend a lot of time. There were a lot of mistakes, and I clearly mentioned that the person had to type an add first number followed by the second number. But for some reason, the developer who tested that out did not follow the guidelines laid down by us. He started entering things like add num1 and num2. In that case, I got a rejection mail. It was an explicit intent to get an rejection so that I could show it to you. Now, because see, if I do not share my failures with you, you guys will never know what how to correct them, right? So when you're creating a bot, I have seen cases when you have had, like, I have created like around 100 utterances, because we don't know what the user is going to enter, right? We want to have we want to make it as easy as possible for the user. So I've add num1 and num2. So in this case, now if I type in, I'll have to obviously build it because I've made some change. Till the time I click on build, it is not going to work out. Now since I've built it, I will be typing in. It is again taking some time. So you can see the test is disabled. Even if I'm clicking, I cannot see any option. Perfect. So now if I type in add 120, you'll see all the values 120 are automatically set for fulfillment. It's ready to go. It's good to go. So someone saying clear screen nahi aa rahi hai. Guys, please solve the this issue in the comments. If it's not working for everyone, please let me know so that I can take action. But if it is working for most of you, in that case, I think we guys are good to go. Perfect. So add num1 and num2 is now going to take, this is giving me an option to take an input of more than one variable. It's not limited to two. If I had 3 slots, 4 slots, I could have taken as many as I want to. Supriya, I would please request you to zoom up, increase the quality a little. And in case that's not working out, please, go to the stream once again, because if I zoom in a little, it gets very difficult for me to code. I am working on a 15-inch screen and it is already zoomed up to a level beyond which it will be slightly difficult for me, but still I'll, take your request and try to work on this 125% for as long as I can. Okay, perfect. We suddenly have around like 145, 150 users. सब लोग अभी सो के आ रहे हैं क्या? चलो यार एक क्विक टेस्ट कर लेते हैं. चलो टेस्ट अभी बाद में करेंगे, पहले खींच लेता हूँ. तो यहाँ पे I have to access intent. So I'll be creating a variable. Now this is up to me how I work with this. This is something which is very very specific. It actually depends upon the person who is doing it. So in my case, the way I like to go for it is I start by creating variables in the beginning. So I'm creating one where let's call this intent is equals to. चलो थोड़ा सा अच्छा. I want one thing. I want to know one thing from you people. Do you want me to simply just type in the code, or do you want me to give you a detailed explanation of what I am typing? Because now, okay, I'll just tell you what I mean, and then you can let me know in the comment. If you are interested, I will give you a detailed explanation of how I am getting to this variable. So now what you see on my screen is basically explanation, please. Great, 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 great. Okay, this is what I expected. This is what I love about my tech audience, that they're always interested in how things are happening. No problem. For those of you who do not know coding, that's absolutely fine. You will, you need to start if you are interested in coding, and I will make sure that you try to understand this. So what I need to access, my job was to access the intent. So how I've done it, I've written event.currentIntent.slots.num1. Now, how did I arrive to this conclusion? So if I have to explain that to you, what I'll have to actually do is I will have to print out this event, because you can see that, if I go to the screen, it says export handler async event. So what happens is when you will be triggering this function, when you will be typing your bot, when your bot will be ready for fulfillment, it is actually going to hit your backend. And as soon as it hits your backend will need to access the event, right? So what happens is a event variable is passed by default to the Lambda function, inside which, depending upon from where you have sent the request, there are going to be some variables. So in this event function, in this event variable, I can see there is something called as current intent. Inside that, there is something called as slots. Inside that, there is something called as num1. Now, this num1 is specific to me because I have named it num1. Now, if I have to access it, so I have to type in var intent event.currentIntent.slots.num1. Now, how did I get to this? So for this, there are two ways of doing it. Either you can go to the Lex documentation and read about what intent Lex sends when you trigger it, or you could have simply done a console.log. You could have just done a console.log event. So here you would have got, there is something called as CloudWatch, which is a service for checking your logs. Over there, if I could have gone console.log, for those of you who do not know JavaScript, just the way you have print in Python, you have cout, you have system.out.println in Java. अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस में अलग अलग वे ऑफ आउटपुट देना होता है. वैसे ही अगर हम बात करें तो हमारे पास console.log होता है when it actually comes to your JavaScript. Okay, so now what this is going to do is, when the function is going to be triggered, because this is cloud, it is not triggered on my laptop, it is triggered on the cloud. So what happens is I can just go and check the results of what, how the thing has happened and what the output is. So things like that can be done by us. So I guess this was quite detailed. I'm not going to go more deep because I've just done a console.log for you people for now, and then we can go and check that out in some time. Like I'm not starting from the scratch because if I do not do that right now, if I do not type the proper lambda response right now, the problem will be my bot will, this function is going to get not going to get triggered, and at this state it's going to give me an error. So in order to avoid that, I will actually have to go as per the standard response which lambda is expecting me to enter. So this is how I've got my first variable. For those of you who have a doubt in this, just give me like 2 minutes, you'll get an idea. Yeah, for the person who told me bad result, thank you so much. Okay, so intent, we have accessed this by event.currentintent.slots.num1. Wait, this is not how you access it. This is for num1. This is what we're going to do for num2 as well. And for the previous one, event.currentIntent, that remains the same. Dot name. Now, a lot of people will have this question, ki how did I get these 3 lines? Just give me a few minutes. Everything will be, clear to you once we log this out. So intent, this is basically giving me the name of the intent. So I will be getting YT addition if it's the addition, or YT multiply if it is the multiply, so that I can, compute the result accordingly, so that I can either add if required, or, I can multiply if required. So I give the correct result to my users. Next is intent. I've done num1 and num2. So basically here I am trying to, access the variables. Now there is one thing which we need to know. No feedback. It's for printing. Achha. Okay. Something going out in the audience. No problem. Cool. So what is going to happen is I've gathered num1 and num2 in my memory. The next thing is I need to parse this up. Now parsing is basically, okay, I'll explain this concept as easy as possible. Now when I gather this data, this is nothing more than a string for me. Now I need to typecast it to an integer in order to have addition and subtraction. Okay, so for that what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in let's say, or I can just save a little bit memory by parsing in when I am actually doing the computation. So I can just type in if intent triple equal to, for those of you who do not know what triple equal to is, it is for checking if it is exactly the same as intent. JavaScript has a difference between triple equal to and double equal to. You can go check that out. I do not have enough time to cover that right now. So result is equals to parse int, and I'm going to type in num1. This is an integer, plus is going to work in the addition. Parse int again, and this is going to be num2. So you guys can see I have computed Okay, this is looking very clustered right now. Let me just give it a little bit spacing. Fine. So I have a variable val result. This is 0 by default. I have accessed intent num1 and num2. I have written if intent is yt addition, result is equals to parseInt num1 plus parseInt num2. So I've already explained that basically num1 is nothing but your number which is coming in form of a string. Num2 is again coming in form of a string. So we are converting it into numeric so that we can have the addition. Otherwise, if I did not write parseInt, 5 and 10 will be the output will be 510 because it's just going to concatenate in that case. But now since I've converted it into a number, it is going to be 5 plus 10 and the output is going to be 15. I hope this is pretty straightforward and clear to everyone. Okay, so this is where I've got my result. If let's just have another maybe else if, and we can type in intent triple equal to. Now as I said, the best practice is to copy from here, nothing to worry about, so that if something goes wrong in your code, it can get it's very easy to rectify if you because you can be sure that the spellings cannot go wrong. Okay, perfect. So here I'm just going to copy the same thing, except plus is now going to be minus. I'm so used to subtraction, I'm so sorry. So I tried something new, addition and multiplication today. Okay, so I can then go for else statement if I want to, just to check that there you've not gone for the correct intent or something. So that can be a custom response which I can set up. Not really interested in that right now. So you can have if else if depending upon your requirement. This is basic code. I hope everyone knows this level of coding. It's pretty straightforward, nothing to discuss in detail. Now one thing which I'm going to do right now, what I'm going to type right now is something which you do not need to remember because the response is already set in the Lex documentation. So you can refer to Lex documentation for that. Uh, so what we have over here is we have a variable const response. The format is going to get changed. Now this is what Lex is expecting. Now Lex cannot work with the standard response code of 200 because that's not it is programmed to work, right? So I'm going to just make some few changes over here and you can observe that. Now this is one thing which even I am referring to the documentation. This is the only part which even I do not know by heart. No one knows by heart. There's a very straightforward reason for that. Again, can we use it? Yeah, you can store it in one variable. It's your way of doing it. The good point about parseInt is I'm not wasting memory. See, I'm just using one variable. I'm just doing it straight away. So that's why it's different styles of coding. I'm just trying to make it simple for people. That's why I'm doing it. It's your way of doing it. You can just tweak in if you want to. So this status code 200 and things like this can be changed. I am going to replace it with a response which is given to me by Lex. That is static. I do not have to make any changes to that. I will add that in the comments because that is not something done by me. That is something which is given to me by Lex. That is something which I'm going to even refer to. So as it says, because if you make one character wrong, right? If there's a slight spelling mistake, your code would not work. So that is why even I'll be referring to something to the documentation for this. I already have the documentation handy. So the name is session attributes. Response is equals to session attributes. Okay, that is going to be blank. Fixed only for two values. Random input values. I didn't get your question. Why would you want random input values on your chatbot? Status code 200 is a success status code. Whatever was written before was for a default Lambda function returning a success message on your screen. But now what I'm doing is I'm just changing it with the response which Lex is expecting. So I'm referring to Lex documentation, which is handy with me right now because I do not want to do the time of googling it and finding it out. You guys can just do that. I'll just stick it with the after the event, or I could have copied it from some other. What I'll do is I'll just save this bot, open Lambda, another one, because this is something, to be very honest, I'm not someone who's going to go on and say that I know things by my heart when I actually don't. At the end of the day, all of us are developers or are would-be developers. So if you want to develop, there are things which you have to refer to. So there is a part of it which I have referred from the documentation, and that's what I'm going to do today as well, because the response is very very fixed. I mean, if I make a single spelling mistake, not that I do not remember it after doing it a lot of times, ye dekho, this part is basically the response which has to go in. So I'll have to see from where this starts so that I do not miss out on something. The problem is, if I do a single mistake over here, my entire code is going to go, and I cannot afford that right now. That's why I'm just avoiding it and I am copying it. So response may I have entered session attributes. Let me just give a tab space. Yeah. Session attributes, which is blank, dialog action, type close, fulfillment state fulfilled, message, plain text, and then the content. Now this is the content which I can actually change if I just reply in. Okay. If I type in hi from Lambda. Now just observe. I've typed in hi from Lambda. I have not computed. So what is going to happen is, I'll go to my bot. I'll have to refresh obviously, because till the time my function was not created, I could have not mapped it, and now I'm going to map it. So there are options for fulfillment. Now in fulfillment, I am going to choose AWS Lambda function. In AWS Lambda function, I am going to select YT Chatbot Calc. This is the name of the function, right? YT Chatbot Calc. This is something which you can see over here, and it is going to ask me, okay, it's going to ask me to give permissions. I've clicked on OK. Click on build once again just to see if all my changes, undone changes are available, so that I do not get some unexpected output. And now, since I've not done the processing, the expected output is hello from Lambda, because that's what I've written in Lambda. Hi from Lambda. This is what I'm going to get. So I'm going to type in, please add. So now it is not hit Lambda till the time it's got all these slots. So it's asking me to enter the first number. I've entered 50. It's asking me what's the second number. I've entered 30. And it says hi from. And for some reason, Lambda got censored. That's like really weird. But the point is, this is how things are actually coming back to us. So that's what I was trying to explain. Now, is the concept clear to everyone that I am getting, I'm talking to the bot, and now the bot is actually hitting to Lambda, and Lambda is giving me a response, and the response is this response. I've copy pasted it because this is the Lex parameters. This is not something coded by me. This is not something said by me. This is something said by Lex. This is how Lex wants the function to give the response. All you have to do is you have to change the content. You do not have to make any change apart from the content. Everything else apart from the content, session attributes blank, dialog action type close, fulfillment state fulfilled, and message content type plain text is predefined by Lex, not defined by us. For the students, I have a lot of students who are watching the stream right now who have done courses with us in this summers. I think we've not created some bots on Node.js. So you guys can see, you might have created some on Python. The way of creating a chatbot on Python or Node.js is very simple. The only thing which matters is this is the response which you need to give to the Lex. As long as you're able to give this response to your Lex, Lex is good to go. It does not need anything else. Just let me know in the comments, like really quickly. I'll just give myself a 1 minute break. I'm speaking since the past 1.5 hours straight. So just quickly confirm, is everything clear to you till this point of time? And can I go further and move on to the next step? Give me a quick confirmation, people. Perfect. ठीक है, for those of you who have opened the website, एक चीज मैं आप लोगों को बता देता हूँ, prismcode.in/Jamia. Yeah, that's the name of the website. Now this website is locked. You just see home and the event page for now. uh, the event has started. That's what's giving you minus time, because that's when we started the event. So there's one thing which you guys need to know about it. all the options are not open right now. They will be open at 1:30, but do not start spamming the website with feedback and things like that, because you will be given an e-certificate only after I give the command for the e-certificate. And that is only and only going to happen once the stream ends. And as I've mentioned, I'm not going to take more than 2, because I know it will be lunchtime for most of you, and you are watching the stream continuously since quite some while. So do not get excited कि खुल गया है feedback, चलो feedback देते हैं, हमें certificate मिल जाएगा. Nothing like that. So we have a total check on the certificates. The stream is going to the website is going to get changed in another 1 minute, because it was 1:29, so I thought of telling this to you. uh, at 1:31 you will be able to see the change, but the point is, the feedbacks or anything which you do on the website is not at all accepted till the time we give the command of doing so. Okay, perfect. And I've got quite a few comments saying that things are pretty clear, so that is quite great. That gives us a lot of confidence when students come in and they give us a feedback on how they are understanding and liking the things. One more thing which I'll tell you before I move forward. So a few, in the coming of days, we have planned a few things. So we are planning to start a few live streams on Facebook and on YouTube. So I'm not committing a weekly stream, but I will try my best to have 30-minute streams on weekends on technology content. And probably, being a new channel, it will take us around 3 to 4 weeks to get 1,000 subscribers. After we're done with 1,000 subscribers, we're going to open community post, and community posts we can actually post on Google, on YouTube, about the latest streams. So if you guys like the content and you want to be a part of free sessions on YouTube and on Facebook, you can actually just click on the subscribe button. That is going to give you notifications of the next videos that will be coming up. Till now, I opened this channel somewhere around August 2019, and at that time I just added one video for a workshop where I have to add it, I had to tell students a few steps. I never posted videos after that. Now the aim for 2020 is to post around 60 to 70 technology videos by the end of the year, and to have at least like 10 to 15 streams in this year. So if that happens, you guys can definitely go and subscribe, and then you can get connected over there. Cool. Coming back, so now you can see यहाँ पे we have returned hi from Lambda. Let's make it a little more logical. Let's go with the previous result. So the result is result full stop. Now I'll just save it. I am just going to refresh my page just to clear the output. I could have just clicked on clear as well. Depends upon your wish. You could just click on anything. Now I'll just type in add 30 and 70. The result is 100. Perfect. So this is the output that we were waiting for. So now the bot is actually replying to us. So now I'll just start talking to the bot as well. Add.
Please enter the first number for addition.
2020.
Please enter the second number for addition.
50.
The result is 2070.
Perfect. So does this look good to you? I mean, this is a very basic implementation. You can make anything out of it. You can, customize things. There are a lot of customizations and a lot of advanced things that you can do in this, but this is how the basics work out. So now let me just try this for multiplication as well. Multiply.
Please enter the first number to multiply.
10.
Please enter the second number to multiply.
350. Okay, so for some reason, multiply. Okay, multiply. We have added the fulfillment over here. For multiplication, we did not add this. So this is one thing which we have to do. Again, something which only happens in live coding. Perfect. So we'll wait for the build to complete, and then we can talk to our bot about addition, multiplication all at once. Perfect. So YouTube Live Calculator was built successfully. Multiply.
Please enter the first number to multiply.
50.
Please enter the second number to multiply.
4.
The result is 200.
Perfect. अब इस पे एडिशन करूं. Okay, so we have something in a comment saying the code is fixed for two numbers. Firstly, the code is not fixed. The code is created. There was nothing wrong in the code. The second thing, I mean, that's a joke. Do not take it personally, man. Yeah, coming back, three numbers. Yes, you can have three numbers as well, but then you'll have to, add more slot types. So the more slot types you add, the more numbers it can support. So that actually depends upon you. So like I have addition, I have multiplication. I'll be quickly creating a help intent because that is something which is very important according to me, because a lot of students would want the bot to actually talk. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go click on intent, create intent. I'll call this help calc, and then I'm going to click on add. I'm going to type in help, or I would want this to get triggered when I type in hi. Okay, you want me to be a little quick? That's great. Okay, so help, hi, hello. I think this looks good for now. So I'll just quickly click on build. So the reason I'm slightly slow is, again, not a lot of people are used to this technology. I have a lot of newcomers and I have to take them into consideration as well. Okay, so now this is a new case where I have help, hello, hi. I will just be adding the function. Sorry, I'll be linking it to the Lambda function, YT chatbot cal. And now I will be running a build. There is no slot that I require in this case. I just want to answer the user if the user is typing in hello, hi, or help. So what I'm going to do is YT chatbot calc. I am going to have a new intent. So let's just have else if intent triple equal to help calc. Again, it has to be case sensitive. Please be very careful. This is exactly same as what I have selected from here. Lambda timeout error. Satish, yes, it is possible, but it usually happens if there's something missing with your code. Usually, it will not give you an error as long as your code is correct and you're not into an infinite loop, or you have done something wrong. It will definitely be working. Okay, so else if intent triple equals to help calc. Now what we have to do next is, now I'll have to change the way I give my result a little, because here I do not want the user to get a static message saying the result is do this to do this. It's a very vague way of doing things, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have result variable over here in the end. I'm going to copy this. I'll tell you why. You'll just quickly understand what I'm trying to do. I've added result over here. Here I'm going to add in textual result, and for this I am going to add the statement here itself. So I'm just going to copy it. The result is, you can see, copied that. The result is the value of this followed by a full stop. So now what would actually happen is, for those of you who did not understand this, please give me a minute to explain. Now I have created a help intent, which means I want the user to actually interact with me, talk to me. So in that case, what is actually going to happen is help calc result, welcome to the calculator chatbot. You can start by typing add 5 and 6, something like add 5 and 6, or multiply. Okay, so now this is some statement which I have given. You could just change the statement as per your requirement. Now you will see the result is %num1 plus %num2 full stop. I am doing the same thing over here, except multiply will be changed by addition. Now one thing which you guys need to know is YT result should be changed as well. I'm doing it. Okay, I'm just ignoring the comments for a couple of minutes because I need to quickly do it. Someone commented that we're going slightly slow. I'll just come back to the comments, guys, in a while. So yeah, let's see it. YT addition, the result is %num1 plus %num2 full stop. So it's going to say the result is, if I've entered 10 and 5, the result is 15 full stop. If I've entered 10 and 5 again for multiply, the result is 50 full stop. If I have entered help, it's going to say welcome to the calculator chatbot. You can start by typing something. You can start by typing something like 5 and 6, add 5 and 6, or multiply. So what I'll do is, to highlight this, I'll just have this in single quotes. Now you can actually change this. I'm trying to make it as realistic and as easy as possible. And what I've done is, in the content, I've just added result so that it gets slightly easy for all of you. Click on save. Everything looks good over here. So let me see. Now in the real case, what you're going to do is you're going to type you're going to type in hi. If I type in hi, so now it's giving me a more realistic feel because I do not know what the user is going to give me, right? Are you guys getting it? So I typed in hi, it's going to say welcome to the calculator chatbot. You can start by typing something like add 5 and 6. Great. So I'll type in add 5 and 6. Okay. Something went wrong. Okay. Got it. So now this is actually concatenating it. So what I'll do is I'll take another variable, changing the plus to multiply and num result. Perfect. Let's clear the chat. Let's type hi. Okay. Add 5 and 6. Perfect. We've got the perfect result. I guess this should be pretty straightforward and clear to everyone. Now let me just type in multiply 10, 300. The result is 3000. Perfect. If I type in help, it's going to tell me that how things look like. So perfect. So now I can actually communicate with my chatbot. I have help. I have a hi message. My bot responds back to hi. My bot also responds back to the functionalities which it is supposed to. So there's just one slight thing which is left, and then I'll teach you how can you deploy your chatbot on Facebook. It's a very interesting thing because that's just going to come up right now. Addition, multiply. So I'll just type in So now this looks pretty good to me. At this state, my bot is capable of replying to help intents. Like if you say hi or help, it is capable of addition. It's capable of multiplication, and it is a continuous bot, and it will be timed out after 5 minutes as we have done it. So Kajal is asking, what if we want to add some intro to a bot even before user inputs anything? Okay, Now that is something which happens on the integration side. So if I integrate this on Facebook, I can go to my Facebook page and then I can have an option for a welcome message, and that is something which is initiated. So your bot never initiates the conversation. You have to initiate the conversation and then your bot is going to answer. So the initiation part is actually done by the place where you go and host your bot. Now, does this make sense to all of you? Coming back to comments, please guys give me a quick comment if the concept is clear or not, because this is how your chatbots work. We are pretty good. We're good to go. We're done with chatbots. There's just one step left, and that step is now to go and deploy this bot on Facebook. Before I go and do that, I just want to know from you people if whatever I've taught is clear to all of you, or if you have any doubts. You can use machine learning, definitely. You can use sentiment analysis. People do use that. It is very it's a very good practice to do that, because real life mein, you're not going to go and deploy calculators on your Facebook page. Come on, let's be practical about that, right? It's impossible that people will go and start deploying calculators. That is something which is very, very illogical. So yes, machine learning is implemented, and for that you need to know the thing in and out. You need to know Python at a very good scale, and you can do that. And that is totally beyond the stream. It's not it's impossible to cover that up. Documentation, yes. Give me a couple of days when your e-certificates would be emailed. I'll just come to that process. I'll send you a few PPTs from my previous workshops. You can just go through that. So I have like 50-60 pages of slides. I'm not making anything special for this event. Just go read that out and you'll know. Okay, so okay, perfect. Everything is clear except, so can we include machine learning? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, everything looks good to me. You have 2 minutes, all of you. Um, as I said, I'll be keeping a check of how many people are attentive with the stream. So at this point of time, I see a sudden drop to 136. Perfect. I will only be issuing 136 certificates. For that, no comments, no faltu ke comments. Just do one thing: type in your name in the comments. All of you. This is just for our verification to check how many people are actually listening to us at this point of time. This because this event is brought to you by IEEE and PrismCode, and IEEE has a strict policy of not issuing certificates to students who have enrolled and who have not been a part of the event. फटाफट से 1 मिनट का टाइम है. It is 1:46 by my clock. After these 3 minutes, we are going to go through the comments. We'll have IEEE coordinators. They are going to quickly just check out the names. We'll only be issuing certificates to the people who comment in their name in the next 2 minutes, 1:46 to 1:48. Mohammed Saud, the person, the head of the event from IEEE, please make sure that these are the 2 minutes when we want to make sure that everyone is actually live. Because if the people who do not comment right now are the people who are not a part of the stream, and please go and reject the certificates from the backend. Perfect. Acha, one disclaimer which I would like to give you guys: you might have got event notifications on emails and calls from the IEEE team. I would like to thank the IEEE team for that. You've done a great job for doing, a very important task for us for, in spreading the word and informing everyone about the stream. Just one request, because the event was, the information was just spread out to you people one day prior, and we did not have a very, big history of a YouTube channel. So that's why we did not ask you guys to subscribe to us before, because we wanted to give you content before we asked you to subscribe. And now, since you are, we would have other ways of communication, such as our YouTube channel itself. So now, because that had to happen, people have sent you your WhatsApp messages. Please make sure that if someone is trying to communicate beyond the event and you do not wish to do so, I mean that is something which you guys have to do. So I'm quite sure of my coordinators. They are great people. They've done a great job. They've helped us out a lot. But still, just for everyone's privacy, if you wish to disconnect with the coordinators after the event, you are free to do so. I mean, we do not want to bring that up to the support. That's just for the community, communication that we have done it. Great. It is 48 already. So जितनों ने comment कर दिया अपना नाम, आप अपना e-certificate एक हफ्ते के अंदर expect कर लेना. Your e-certificates will be given to your email address within like 1 week from today. And then again, IEEE team will try their best to expedite the process. Perfect. So now my bot is ready. I have to deploy it. I am going to go on to channels. Now you can see I have options of Facebook, Kick, Slack, Twilio. So Twilio is the company which has business APIs for WhatsApp integration. Slack, a lot of you might know about this. This is slightly official version of WhatsApp used by a lot of people around the globe. And Facebook, all of us know it. It's a very common thing. So I'm going to deploy my bot on the Facebook Messenger. Now, there are a few things that we have to keep in mind. The bots cannot be live on spot, but they will be live by the evening. So today I'm going to have the bot live so that you guys can actually go and check with the bot that how well the bot is performing. For that, what you can do is you can just you'll have to go and to the page. The page link is given in the description. You can go to the Facebook page, and that's where you can test the bot. It is not going to work right now. I'm going to deploy it right now. It is going to take in a few hours before it can be deployed, and only after it has been deployed you would be able to see it, right? And for those of you who have been smart, जिन्होंने अभी comment कर दिया अपना name and are planning that you will leave the stream and you'll still get the certificate, I'm very sorry. We are slightly smarter because there are a few more steps which I will be telling you in the end, which you have to follow before you get your certificate. Perfect. So now I need to go on to developer.facebook.com. That's where the bot is deployed. You have to go to this page. You have to go to my apps. Now I created a bot yesterday. You can see this bot by test bot. Now you can do one thing. You can actually go to facebook.com/prismcode or go down in the link. And if you try to send us a message right now after liking the page, it is not going to give you a response, right? It is not going to respond to you because our rejection has our bot has got rejected. So I'll just show that rejection message to you and why the bot got rejected. So let me just go into alerts inbox, and you can see I had uploaded it 15 hours ago. That was last night. And your app review status for Messenger are available. So I'm going to my submission and I will have an update. It says additional information is required to review your request. Okay. So they have a problem and it says not approved. Why does it say not approved? They have added a screenshot for that. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So this was a very basic bot. You type an ad, because I'll tell you what I uploaded and what these people anticipate. The bot was supposed to work add, then you were supposed to enter 10, then you were supposed to enter 20, and it was supposed to answer 30. Now how they tried it out: 10, add 20, 20, subtract 10, 20. So all these are illegal inputs for our bot because our bot is not designed to do so. So this means when you go and deploy your bot on Facebook, they are not going to test it as per the requirements which you have given. They are going to test it the way they want to. So if something goes wrong, your bot is going to be denied access, and that is totally up to you. So if I go to my submission, uh, let me just see if I'm able to see the previous details which I had uploaded. Yes, this is what okay, no, it has gone. So I had uploaded a video wherein the bot was totally working. It is live on my Lex. I can show you it's live, but they have rejected it just for this reason, because you have to do error handling on your part. So if my bot, the bot which I'm using right now, if I go back to my editor and I've only added multiplication and multiply, and then they are adding numbers and it is not giving them an output, so that is totally on me. That is not on Facebook. Okay, so that's why they have full authority to ask you to leave. And I will just show you that the test version of the bot is still live for me. So let me just open that for you. I've opened the messenger because I have deployed it. I can see the bot on my own. No one else can do that. Okay. So now if I go to the bot, I type in add. It is replying. Enter first number. I've entered 10. It is asking me for the second number. FNO SNO stands for first number and second number. Again, my denotions. I've entered my second number, and there you see I can see the result is 40. Now if you go to the same page, like it, do the same steps which I am doing on the messenger, you will not get the same output because this bot is in test mode. Though it says it's in live, but my application has been rejected for the reason which was shared with me. I had done a explicit thing where I wanted to reject my application so that I can tell you guys how to get your application approved if you have to. being a newcomer, it's slightly difficult for you to, get your application approved in the very first go. That's why I wanted to cover this thing up. Now I'm just going to tell you the steps real quick on how can you deploy your chatbot. It's not that long. Uh, we'll go to my apps. I'm just deleting this one. The reason why I'm deleting this one is because, it's going to ask you to confirm your password. I do not want to waste a lot of time. I just want one bot available over here so that I can explain the process of adding images and things like that. I'll click on add. It's going to ask me what is the name of the app. So I'll just call it YT Live Chatbot. Okay. Create app ID. It is going to ask me if I am a human. I will have to approve that. Submit. It has created the application for me. Now there are a few steps that I actually need to do before I can, actually see my bot live. I have to set up Messenger. The bot is in development. I'll have to give permission to add or remove page. So I'll have to log in. Now these are the pages that are managed by me. So I'll just choose PrismCode for now. The reason why I've selected PrismCode is so that once the bot is live in the next 4 to 5 hours, you guys can actually go. I'll just comment it down in YouTube that the bot is actually live and you guys can test it out if you want to on the Facebook page. Now you see that the page has been added over here, right? So everything is sorted from this point. Now what I need to do is I need to go back to my Lex. In my Lex, I have to now click on publish. Now after clicking on publish, I have to create an alias. I mean, this is just the version, this is the deployment. So I'm naming it prod, stands for production. You can name it development, test, whatever you want to. So I've named it prod. It does take some time to, go. People are asking for the Facebook feedback link. Just give me a few minutes. I mean, I'll not take more than 5 minutes. The stream might go for additional 5 minutes at max. Just give me some time because I do not want to quickly go into the process of distributing certificates. Post that no one will be actually listening to us. Okay, so yeah, you can see I have actually created my deployment. Now I'll go to channels. No, no, no. You cannot deploy this if you do not have a Facebook page. Chatbots are not deployed to personal accounts. They're only deployed to Facebook pages. Channel, Facebook. Now I can name my channel anything I like. So let's just name it YT Live Chatbot. Description is not required. Alias prod because that is the version which I want to deploy. Going back, I have to generate a token. It's a big token. This is called as a page access token. Verify token, I can keep it as 123. This is just for my verification. And then there's the app secret which I have to get right now. I'll just go to that. Okay. So now I am done with this step. Now I have to click on settings, basic. Now a few things are required like your privacy policy URL, and you have to create an icon for 1024 into 1024. Till the time you do not do this, you cannot have your application deployed. So this is very, very important. Okay. Privacy policy URL. So I'll have to go to prismcode.in to get that up. Give me a second for that. Enter that. and I'll click on save. Okay. So for some reason, it is not accepting the privacy policy URL. I think there's some issue on the Facebook's end. Otherwise, this is something which does not happen. So if this happens, what the next step is, I'll just, try that out after the stream. I'll just take like 5 to 10 minutes, or I'll just contact Facebook because this might be an outage. Otherwise, this is something which does not happen. What actually happens is it gets saved and then you are given a key. Now what happens is after you're given the key, you have to go inside Messenger. Again, go back to the settings. The page is automatically linked. You have to get the app secret. Now that is something which I'm not able to get because, there is something going wrong with Facebook right now and it is not accepting my privacy policy URL. Had that been done, I would have got that. I would have added that to my app secret. And as soon as I clicked on activate, I would have got a URL which I would have been adding over here. But since for some reason AWS is not AWS, I think this is something on Facebook's part that they're not accepting the privacy policy URL for now. So we'll have to wait for this to update. What I'll do is I will just add a YouTube video on the channel for deploying it on Facebook somewhere around tomorrow, if that suits everyone. Because it does not actually make sense to wait for this. Thoughts, everyone? I mean, you can comment and let me know. I personally do not feel to, wait for another 10-15 minutes because this can go out for long. These are development pages. It does take in some time. So I'll just tell you what had to be done after this. You just had to get a URL, a app secret which you had to paste over here, activate it, and then connect it back with your password. So if that happened, everything would have been good. But since it's not working right now, we'll have to wait. I will definitely upload a video latest by tomorrow night on the channel on how can you deploy your chatbot on Facebook. You guys can go and check that out. Perfect. So great, guys. It was a great stream. It was like my first one and I had a really, really great experience. You guys motivated me a lot. Thank you so much for attending the stream. Now coming up to the last step which we need to do before we recorded video. There's nothing as recorded video. It's all YouTube. You can just go to the channel, have a look at the video anytime you want to. That's the reason we have started streaming on YouTube. We do not need to take care of anything from our end. Perfect. So this is pretty much about it. Now telling you, if you have to check out the chatbot, as soon as it gets deployed, you can actually go to facebook.com/prismcode, like the page, and then you'll get access to the chatbot over there. You can actually try that out if you do not have a personal page. Perfect. Now coming into the last step, a lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about how do you master yourself in AWS and how things actually work out. If you want to learn from the scratch to the end, how it is actually going to how can we learn. So I'll be very honest. Uh, this is not a promotional stream. Being very, very honest, if you guys are in your first year, let's say, or in your school, my request would be that you guys start learning on your own because you have a lot of time. Maybe if you're in the second year, you can try that. Okay, but because of the COVID currently, situations have changed, jobs have changed, industry is demanding a lot of new technologies, and this is something which is not taught in the education system in our country currently. Not a lot of people are taught AWS in college, but if you look at the jobs in terms of cloud, if you ask your seniors or the people who are already placed, there are a lot of jobs available in this domain. So for that, we do have a few courses because streams cannot cover the entire thing from the beginning to the end. Until now, we were just offering a few courses that were slightly expensive, and then we got a lot of requests from people that they wanted slightly value efficient courses. So for that, we have launched in two courses for the stream since you have been a part of the stream. So we're giving a few discounts till at least 31st of 30th of this month. For the next 4 days, you can register online. In case you are interested in one of the courses, we will definitely contact you back and then you can discuss. So for those of you who have been a previous part, you were a part of this course, that is AWS Masterclass, which only it's a one-on-one session. I mean, we have 50 hours of live streaming plus unlimited doubt sessions, and we have close to, I mean, not more than 10 people in a batch. So it's a very personalized thing. This is for people who are close to their placements and need to get placed because this includes AWS, Node.js, and Python. We're going to cover the basics of Node.js, the basics of Python, Lambda, and whatever is mentioned over here. You can just go through this. These are all the list of things. You'll be creating projects, you'll be given internships, because we're a product development company. We have our partners pan India. We build websites for them, we build a lot of things for them. So in case you want to, get an internship, you're in the third or fourth year, and you are actually, willing to learn AWS to a level where you want to actually get placed, this is something which you can look forward for if you're interested. Second is the AWS Essentials course. This is a very basic course. Uh, in this, we're not going to have more than 20 students. Again, we're going to have live streams. Live streams as in it's going to be on Skype, and you'll have unlimited doubt sessions. It's going to cover 5+ hands-on projects. This is in-class project. This is not personalized projects. In this, you'll be given 3 people. One will be your trainer in both the courses. I'm going to be your trainer. You're going to have a doubt person who's going to take up your doubts. And third is going to be, you're going to be given a person who is going to be your, taking your projects up. So that is what you get. So you guys can go through it and you can see if you want to.